Hi and welcome back to my channel. I haven't got a review today, but simply a comparison about how two companies who are making the same style watch as such to the same dimensions can be so different from each other. Now, these watches are both divers watches with a GMT complication. Now, they're also pretty well very similar dimensions to each other. This is a 44, that's a 43.2, both are about 50mm lug to lug, and the only big difference is the Oris is about 2mm thinner than the Sinn. The Sinn's about 15.2, this is about 13.3, give or take. So they even have a very, well, not quite the same movement, but very similar. This has the Salita 330 movement, which is basically a clone of the ETA movement which resides in this watch. Though to be fair, if you were to buy this watch new now, it would actually come with that same movement. So in essence, they're very similar, but as you can see, they're so different to each other. This is a £2,100 watch and does come with a very nice rubber strap and a very nice clasp for that rubber strap with on-the-fly adjustment. The Sinn, on the other hand, this one being the all-black teglemented version, is when I say teglemented, that simply is a case hardening procedure, but this means this watch is incredibly hard. Most PVD finishes after 7.5 years would be scratched or beaten up. This one still looks good. So, but you can buy this one in just standard looking steel. Still has a teglemented bezel, albeit silver, and it has submarine steel, which is still very hard. And that can be found for about 2,300, 2,400, albeit that you don't get a silicone strap. Well, you can either order it with a silicone, a bracelet, or a leather. If you order it with the bracelet and then want to add a silicone, you're talking £300 afterwards. So value for money, you're getting a lot of watch with this. But as we can see, these watches are very similar, but so different, as I pointed out. First of all, the Oris is a lovely looking watch. There's no shadow of a doubt. It has an amazing dial, has this nice ceramic bezel, and it looks really nice. You can picture wearing, this is one of the few divers you could probably wear with a shirt, if a blue shirt, whatever. You can wear this with a shirt. I think you'd get away with it because it's actually quite domed, so a shirt cuff will go over it, I believe, quite easily. The Sinn is far from it. It's a big chunk of steel. There's no argument there. The difference comes, let's look at the Gmt hand. Now, to be fair, I'm only viewing this through the backside of my camera here, and I can read the Gmt hand on that, no problem at all. On this one, it gets a little bit awkward. So if you notice, to really appreciate that dial, I have to zoom in. Now, you can see all the different numbers for the GMT. The only downside I would say with this is that dial is beautiful, plays on the light so well, and it's just a shame that that hour track for the GMT breaks it up. I would have preferred it if they would have had the numbers just printed on there, and in fact every other number like the Sinn I think would have been better. So it's a shame it breaks it up that little bit. Otherwise, it is a lovely looking watch. It's no shadow of a doubt. Whereas this, you can see the GMT hand is partially hidden because it's black and just has that simple red tip. So all you really read is this red tip, and then that's for GMT time. For those unfamiliar with that, local time at the moment is just coming up, just gone 2, and the GMT time would be 9 in the morning. So that's how you read it. So I think this is a far more legible watch, definitely. But would it look any good with a suit or something like that? No. This is your more casual or proper dive watch, to be fair. Now, I've got to zoom out to see this. Both I said are proper divers watches. One strange feature though is the bezel on this. If I zoom in again, it's actually quite hard to grip, and I've got to quite pinch it to turn it. But being that it's a diver's watch, you would expect to see a diver's bezel on there, but it hasn't. This is what's called a GMT bezel, which allows you to have a third time zone, which is quite strange really, being that this watch is a Accurus, so it's supposed to be a water-based, you know, a swimming watch, a diver's watch. The Sinn, on the other hand, has a proper diver's bezel, fully loomed. Obviously, both of these watches are loomed. Tough to say which is better. This has got a very pleasant blue loom to it. The Sinn, I've actually got to remember what it has now. Green and blue. So aesthetically, I'd say the loom on this is nicer. But which one lasts longer? No, we'll wait and see. So this has the diver's bezel. So what I mean by that, it's unidirectional. It will only go one way. Now, the actual bezel action, I would say, on the Oris is better. This is just simply okay. It's not the best bezel, not by a long shot from Sinn. The UX is one of the better ones, but it is a proper dive bezel. Plenty of back play though, it's a bit of a shame. And there you go, but it does line up all correctly. This has got the better bezel, I would say, feel, but it's a waste of time. It's not a waste of time, but it doesn't really work as a diver's bezel quite so much. When it comes to water resistancy of these two watches, this is a 300 meter diver. This is a 2000 meter diver. So this is incredibly hardcore. If we start looking around at the case, now the case on this is very nice. There's no argument. It's got a lovely finish, lovely attention to detail. There's only one criticism I would say, and that's here. If you notice, we have amazing finishing here, and here there's nothing, which is, to me, a bit of a shame, because you are talking, this is a premium class watch. This is over £2,000. So that I wouldn't be too happy with, which is a little bit of a shame, because otherwise the rest of it is stunning. Case back, limited edition number. The crown on this feels to die for. When you unscrew it and screw it back in and wind a watch, it is very, very impressive. The Sinn, on the other hand, now, to be fair, it's a bit awkward to say because this is the PVD one, so it is all black, but as you can see, there's nothing special about the case design at all. The only thing you can say is that it does have a captive bezel. So the bezel is actually screwed down. You can't accidentally knock it. You could on the Oris, but there's not much you can really say that. When it comes to the bracelet is a real nice finish on this. It is very good. Again, this is a bracelet to impress. This is a functional one. This does look great. Also, I would say when it comes to the clasp on the Oris is far superior. Double pin security, 3 levels of micro adjustment, and a very nice substantial diver's extension. Very nice, solid feeling. Great. Can't fault that at all. When it comes to the Sinn, it's a little bit old school. It's folded bit of steel. Not that there's anything technically wrong with it, but it's not anything to write home about. So it is a little bit of a shame. If I release this, you also have a very chunky, fully machined diver's link extension. So it does work, but the Oris is of a higher quality, I would say. So there we go. Now, as I say, the movements are basically the same in these watches. So there's nothing really to write home about that. It's just how two watches can be so different, which even have the same movement and the same functionality as such. Other things to mention, the Sinn also has these copper sulfite crystals inside it. You can see some of them there. There's actually, I believe, 2 here and 1 inside a case, and that absorbs any moisture which might get into the watch. Each one of the U2s is put in a freezer, so down to -45 degrees and up to +80 degrees to check that its timekeeping still runs nicely. And every single one is done, not just one. Every single watch is done. So just to keep it checked. I'll put both watches on my wrist so you've got an idea. I'm actually wearing a Larco Memmingen pilot's watch at the moment. Let me take this off. My wrist size is a fraction over 7 inches. I'll put the Oris on first. So let me move this a little bit up so you get a better view. And there you go. That's it on my wrist. It is a very nice looking watch. I would say a lovely looking watch, just flawed in a couple of areas. Another thing I've just noticed is the date window being white. I'd almost like it being blue and maybe white number instead. I say, if you have the Oris, there's actually nothing wrong with it at all. It's a great watch. It's just a bit confusing, some of the things for it. Now, if I go for the Sinn, the Sinn is a beast. It's makes no statement, you know, to be anything other than that. It is a beast of a watch, but it's very legible and relatively comfortable, to be fair. It's not top heavy or anything. The bracelet doesn't taper too much to actually cause any pain or whatever, so I do actually quite like that. It's, I say two very different watches, two watches which in essence are the same, but it's just how they go about doing it. Both have a similar case size, both use the same movement as such, but so different from each other. Anyway, just a quick comparison video just to see what you guys think. Which would you choose out of interest? Would it be the Oris? Would it be the Sinn? Be quite interesting to see what you guys actually think. Okay, all the best, and I'll see you at the next review, and stay safe. Take care. Bye.